What's up guys, this is Ray and welcome to Asian Filmist. And today, it's still May, so we're going to be talking about live action anime adaptations. And the movie we'll be discussing today is a 2009 live action adaptation of the Tatsunoko classic superhero anime Yatterman. This movie is directed by Miike Takashi, the director for hire himself, and it stars Sakurai Sho, Fukuda Saki, and Fukada Kyoko. And I think the story of Yatterman is quite simple. It's about these two folks, this boyfriend and girlfriend, Yatterman number 1 and Yatterman number 2, and they live a double life as crime-fighting heroes. And the two heroes fight against the Dorombo gang as they both race to acquire the 4 pieces of the Skull Stone, which as legend is told, once joined together, bad things will start to happen. So I think Yatterman is kind of unique in that, compared to a lot of the other Tatsunoko work, it seems pretty wacky and seems like the original work at least was intended for children, and that seems to be the case with this live action adaptation. But let's dive into that. As far as the positives are concerned, I really like the set design, the colors. It's extremely colorful, especially for a superhero work even so. And the character designs and the costumes look like they were lifted straight from the anime. I don't think you can even look at this anime or even the CG that's featured in this movie and take everything seriously. I think it just looks like a lot of fun, and I think the movie represents that part of the anime quite well. Like, the action's over the top, and like I said earlier, a lot of colors, and it's full of plenty of self-aware comedy. I'm not sure if the original anime was kind of made with this kind of self-aware comedy, but I think there are loads of it in this movie. For example, there's a scene where they're riding their dog mecha, Yatterman. As they ride him into the ocean, they both have their different poses as they hang on to the side of the mecha. And I think in the anime, that's quite a normal pose to hold. But in the movie, they ride their dog from one side of the ocean to the next, and they just grow tired as they keep holding that pose. And I think the way this particular scene was portrayed in this movie, I think it was funny because it's kind of like, yeah, you ain't gonna hold that pose for a whole ride across the ocean. There are even allusions to having an episode once a week. I forgot exactly what it is, but they mentioned how they can only do something once a week, and I think that just alludes to how the original anime was broadcasted on TV once a week. I enjoyed how the tone was wild and wacky and all over the place. I don't think many people were down with the way the tone was, but for me, I was all about it, and especially just considering who the director is, Miike Takashi. I think anything that comes out of Miike Takashi's filmography, I think you can only just expect nothing less than bonkers, and I think Yatterman is a perfect example of that. And this film is not only filled with wacky humor that would cater to children, but it's also filled with a lot of really strange innuendo. I mean, for example, you had Yatterman's mech and you had the Dorombo gang's mech, and they just started getting in heat for each other. Like, as first of all, one of the Dorombo gang's mechs is just a booby robot, and then they just start getting it on and just start making out. It's just like, really, am I watching a kids show? At first I thought that was a Miike Takashi thing, like, oh man, only he can do that. But then I read somewhere else that this kind of perverted humor was also prevalent in the original show, and it became kind of a thing that parents didn't want their kids to watch. But I don't know. I didn't watch the original anime, but so you guys can correct me on that. But I thought it was kind of interesting that this humor was in the original kids anime. But at the same time, I'm not really surprised if you see the kind of things that come out of kids' works nowadays. I think, yeah, you can kind of expect that. And speaking of the original anime, one nice touch that I like is that it featured cameos of the 3 voice actors of the original Dorombo gang. And they had a very small part in this movie. I thought just that Easter egg was quite nice. So yeah, the costumes, the colors, the action, the sets, all that was enjoyable about Yatterman. But as far as the negatives are concerned, I thought that at many parts throughout the movie, it just dragged. I think the runtime was close to 2 hours long, and I think the movie had enough material for a healthy hour and a half. And the way the movie was structured, the way the story was structured, it felt like it lifted straight out of the anime, except with the difference being that instead of being a 30-minute episode, it was a 2-hour one. And because of that, I felt like it just kept dragging on. And you know, as funny as a lot of the plot elements were concerned, especially if you were a fan of the original show, I just thought as in a movie as a whole, you know, a lot of parts could have been trimmed down. And not only that, but the movie uses a lot of cheap melodramatic plot elements to drive the plot, and in the end they don't really do much of them. I felt like all of them were just wasted. Like you had Yatterman #1 accidentally fall on top of Doronjo and give her a kiss, and suddenly there's this love triangle between Yatterman #1 and #2 and Doronjo, and it's kind of like, all right, where is this gonna go? And in the end they don't really resolve anything. They just kind of end it and just move forward and just moved forward with the final confrontation. It's like, all right, that was a big waste of time. And I don't know, I felt like Sakurai Sho, you know, I like him in certain other roles, but I didn't like him as Yatterman #1. I'm almost 100% certain that Sakurai Sho was cast just because of his good looks. If you guys don't know, Sakurai Sho is not only an actor, but he's also an idol. He's a member of J-pop band Arashi, who is still popular to this day. And I'm pretty sure at this time, yeah, he was mainly casted just for his looks and his star power. But as far as him delivering a performance of an over-the-top kids hero, I don't think he did that well of a job. But I do think the best performance overall goes to Fukada Kyoko. I think she had the most charm, and you know, I enjoyed the presence of the whole Dorombo gang as a whole. They were funny, they were entertaining compared to the titular duo. I don't know. I thought that they could have casted better actors for the roles of Yatterman #1 and #2. But all that being said, overall, what did I think of Yatterman? You know, it's definitely interesting. It's something that I think you can expect from a Miike Takashi work. I think he was probably the perfect director to adapt this wacky anime. But as far as the end result goes, you know, it could have been trimmed down a lot. But I thought the visuals were all there. That's something you can expect from a Miike Takashi movie. The visuals will almost always be there. I think he takes certain care with recreating costumes and set designs if that were in the original anime. But as far as the final delivery is concerned, that's where it can be hit or miss. I mean, after all, Miike gave us Terraformers. Say what you will about that, but yeah. But with Yatterman, everything looks like they were lifted from its source. Everything from the costumes, as I keep saying, the costumes and the visuals, but also the really weird musical numbers. The music even too sounds like they're from the original show. And from what I understand, the really weird sexual innuendo, you know. Look, if you guys are fans of the original Yatterman, then please tell me how well this movie recaptures the charm of the original show, because the most I know of Yatterman is what I've seen in video games such as Tatsunoko versus Capcom. I think that was my either that or this movie was my introduction to Yatterman. I didn't really know much about the character until then, but just judging from this movie as a standalone experience, yeah, it's an interesting thing. Do I recommend this movie? Yeah, I think it's probably a good movie to watch, especially if you want something wacky and entertaining from Miike Takashi's filmography, and also if you want to see how if you want to see how a director would try to lift an anime straight from its source material and try to adapt it directly into live action, I felt that everything that was adapted was pretty much done with the intention of recreating exactly how the anime did it. And you know, some parts worked well, some parts didn't, but that's just the dangers or the risks of adapting an anime into live action. Not everything is going to work out, not everything is going to look like it should be a movie. So when you watch this movie, just be well aware of that this movie is meant 100% to be just a live action anime. I mean, there's no better way to put it other than that. You're watching an anime just set into live action. For me, myself, yeah, I'm kind of half and half about it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the live action Yatterman. What did you guys think, or what kind of questions did you guys have? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow on Facebook and Twitter. And by all means, support Asian Filmers through Patreon. It helps the channel a lot. Plus, you can take advantage of some fine perks. And as always, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you all again in the next video. Take it easy.